You're listening to the Getting Into Alignment podcast with your host, Alexa Ray Smith. I am an energetic mentor for women in life and biz. I am here to help you energetically align with all of your desires. I help you do this by reprogramming your subconscious mind, manifesting your dreams, and quantum leaping your success. Each episode is going to be a coaching moment filled with life-changing information, tools, and concepts, activating you to create the most out-of-this-world life. This podcast is for the woman who is ready to have it all, the woman who wants to create a limitless life on her own terms, the woman who wants to build an empire, have spiritual wealth, and abundance in all areas of her life. It's time to raise your standards and elevate your frequency because your dream life is ready to be claimed. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Alexa Ray Smith. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. On this podcast, I really talk about all of the different things, ideas, tools, concepts, what I'm learning, what I've learned, what I've embodied that can really help other people because fundamentally we are so similar, more so similar than we are different, which can be hard to believe because we grow up in a society that wants us to believe that we're so very different from one another. But deep down, we all want and desire the same things. We all want to be happy. We all want to live a fulfilling life. We all want to live out our purpose. We all want to find somebody that we love. We want to find a group of people that's a tribe, that's a family, a community of like-minded individuals that can love and support us and laugh with us. And deep down, we are just so much more similar than we are different. And if these things have helped me and they help my clients, then I know that they'll also help you as well. So these are little keepsakes, mementos in time that really encapsulate these different teachings and learnings in a way that's different than a program or a course. Because sure, you can rewatch courses and programs, but I find that listening to podcasts, there's just something that hits a little deeper. Maybe it's because I personally invested in podcasts so early on, especially when I really didn't have or believed that I didn't have the resources and the money to really buy the programs and buy all of the different things and work with the mentors. And free information is really what opened up the floodgates for me. If I hadn't have found podcasts, I don't really think that I would be where I'm at right now because podcasts were what I was listening to when I was working in a cubicle, when I was completely miserable, when I was so burnt out, when I was really good at the job that I did, but I was miserable. And is it worth being good at something if you're miserable? You know, and fundamentally miserable. Like I was miserable at my job. I was miserable when I wasn't working. Misery was just like the key word of my life, and it was depressing. And listening to podcasts really was what got me through it. And I was able to start working on my mindset and working on who I was as a person while I was still in a space that was somewhat regulating my nervous system because I still had income coming in. I was able to create spaces in the time schedule that I had to invest my time and energy into things that were nourishing me, mind, body, and soul, that allowed me to believe it was possible to step out of a public servant career, believe that it was possible to create my own business, believe that it was possible to be a coach, to live in 4 different states in a year, to travel with my dog, to do all of the things that I've been able to do in the past year that I quite honestly probably would have never done, because there would have been too much programming, there would have been too much fear, and there already was everybody in my outside world repeating everything I had learned that confined me for so long. And that's one thing about personal development, is there's definitely a struggle when you try and keep one foot in the world you still have and one foot in the world of where you're going, because you don't want to lose all of your friends. You don't want to be outcast from your family and everything you've known. But at the same time, you realize that the conversations that are being had and the people that you're surrounded with aren't doing this work, and they're just complaining about the state of their lives instead of finding ways to make it different. And that is one thing that has still been a balance for me. But I believe truly that I needed to create that space for myself to really, stop spending time doing the same old shit, going out drinking with my coworkers and then complaining about our jobs and our bosses and all of the things that could be done differently. Instead of outsourcing our power, why can't we be self-sourced? Why can't we be soul-sourced? And why can't we learn the tools that other people have learned, because they're living freedom-filled lives? And why can't we implement them in our own lives? So my journey really started out there. Like, if we're not going to go into too much detail, but how did I start personal development? That's how I started, in a cubicle, on my car drive into work, being stuck in rush hour traffic, going to and from work, listening to podcasts while I was cleaning my house, while I was in times where I would typically be out drinking with friends or binge watching Netflix or doing things that were not serving me. Because that's one thing you'll hear a lot, like, I don't have time. I just don't have time to invest. I don't have time to learn these things. Like, where do you find the time, Alexa? And it's like, whatever's important to you, you find the time for and you make time for. It's all about really being able to ask better questions for yourself and getting clear on the life that you want to live, and realizing that if you continue to show up as the same person with the same beliefs and the same energy and take the same actions as you've always have, then you're going to keep getting the same results. And if you're not living a fulfilling life and you don't have the results that you want to have now, it takes that self-awareness. Then I need to change who I am. There is something about me, or there are many things about me that are creating this current reality that I'm living in. And if I see that there are examples of people who are living completely different realities than me, but are at a fundamental level human beings living on earth at the same time as me, who arguably have the same resources that I have, or I have the same resources that they had at one time that got them to where they are now. Instead of seeing the people that have what you want as a reason why you'll never be able to have it, it's that mindset shift of saying and seeing people that have what you want and going, oh my gosh, if they have that, I get to have that too. Oh my gosh, do you see what that girl just manifested? Do you see what that woman is doing, what she's driving, what she's wearing, the money she's bringing in? If she can do it, I can do it too. And what I have realized over the years is there's not one piece. Like, everyone's looking for that secret code. Everyone's looking for the missing ingredient in their recipe. Everyone's looking for this like quick fix in this microwave society that we've built, where everything has to be instantaneous. But when we get things instantaneously, we lose the lessons, the life experience, and the wisdom that we receive when we go through something as a lived experience. And a lot of people I find in the online world, new coaches, are having this imposter syndrome. Like, this is like, it's a topic that's talked about everywhere nowadays. And it's really a manufactured problem that we've created. And it's because so many people are trying to coach without having a lived experience. People are trying to learn something, and the second they learn it, teach it. People are trying to monetize something the second they hear about it. And there is this process. And you've heard me say this before if you've been in my world, that when you learn something, it lives in your head. But in order for it to fully be embodied, in order for you to actually have the wisdom that lives in your body, it's about that drop down from being in your brain to being in your heart. And when you have something in your brain, it exists as more information. And a lot of the times what I see new coaches doing, or people newer into the entrepreneurial world or self-help world or spiritual awakening world, is they're comparing themselves with other people, and they're seeing what they have. And so they're learning from all of these people, and then they keep learning and learning and learning, but they don't actually take action, or they don't sit with that information and see if they have a lived experience that makes that information actually true for them, or working with the information so that they see how it applies to them specifically. How is it landing for them? How did it land for them? What process did they go through? Because anybody can Google how to manifest. Anyone can read about quantum physics. People can read about spiritual awakenings. People can read philosophy and metaphysics. It's all available. It's all available, but it's all information. And when we think about your brain as the supercomputer that it is, it's really all just information. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, everything just is. It's information that the external world is mirroring back to us. And if we think about, if you are ever familiar with coding and computer science, or even back in the HTML days, if you're old enough to remember those when we did MySpace, there are certain things that go into a code. There are certain pieces of information that are required. And if that code isn't written correctly, then it isn't going to display to the user correctly. The end user won't have the same experience or the intended experience as the person designing the interface intended, because there was something wrong in the code. And this is often what I find is what's happening with a lot of people, is they have all of this information, yet they are just collecting information on information on information instead of applying it, instead of embodying it. And lately, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been talking a lot about the work that I've been doing and how it's really transformed my life. And this work has been on top of the mindset, on top of the energetics, on top of the embodiment that I've already always practiced and I've been refining over the years. It was really about, within the embodiment piece, the nervous system regulation. Because I realized that my nervous system was just shook, and had been for so many years, that I was stuck in a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze, because I just had a hyperactive amygdala. I had my nervous system just completely fried because of the way I had lived. And even though I had learned all of this information over the past 7 years since little old Alexa sitting in her cubicle, I had done energy work and energy healing work and clearing work and shadow work and all of that, but I hadn't been able to regulate my nervous system. And this truly is like the missing piece. This is the piece that I find so many people are missing in their own lives, and the piece that really has made it so I feel so much better. I feel so much more alive. And because I feel in this present moment so much more alive, the information that I've learned is so much easier to drop down into my body, to be embodied, to be learned wisdom. And so the work that I'm doing is shifting back into having my EME method, where I teach you and I talk about and we work together on this trifecta of energetics, mindset, and embodiment. But what we're going to be working on is going to be subconscious reprogramming married and coupled with nervous system regulation. Because it wasn't and it isn't just one thing that's going to get you there. Regulating your nervous system alone isn't going to get you the life that you want, isn't going to allow you to instantaneously manifest. It isn't going to allow you to live with your soulmate partner for the rest of your life. It isn't going to allow you to have the dream car, the dream house, the dream life. But when you learn all of these things together, it really is the formula for you to be able to live your most fulfilling life. And that's what I'm looking for. Like when I started this journey, it was, how do I eliminate or at least decrease the amount of suffering that I was going through? Because it was at a point where I literally felt like I couldn't bear any more suffering. Like it felt like all I had ever known and all I would ever know, but I just couldn't continue to go on with the weight of the life that I had lived and with just the state that I was in. And I realized that I needed to rewire my subconscious mind, but I also needed to regulate my nervous system. And this is a conversation that is being found more on the internet, but I find that not a lot or not enough people are talking about it. And this is why I also see there's a big divide when we particularly look at the coaching world. And of course, I'm in the coaching world, so this is what I'm going to use as reference because I believe that a lot of you are as well, or you're entering into. But it can be applied in a more macro scope to other places as well. But in the coaching world, I've found that there's still this 1% versus the 99% thing. And the 1% is flourishing and getting these fucking out of this world results, while 99% of people still aren't hitting 5K months, still can't get out of scarcity, still don't have a successful business. Like they're doing all of the things, but they haven't gotten the desired results yet. And they don't feel amazing while doing the things either. And it was like, what is this missing piece? Like what do I need to layer on to what I've already done so that this can really land in a way that I know is possible, because I see other people living in this blissful state, like this state where it is truly abundant living, where they have a rich life. It isn't just about the money. And if anything, the more money that's had, the less it is about money, because it was never about the money. It was about the feelings and the experiences that you believed that you needed to have money for in order to allow yourself to feel and experience. And a lot of these things and a lot of the deep healing work that we're doing doesn't have to actually be this deep. A lot of it can simply be shifted with a change in perspective. So the way my coaching has changed is going to be working with these shifts in perspectives. Let's not focus so much on what happened in the past, because we're just recreating it now. If we can energetically align now with feeling alive and feeling fulfilled, then we've changed our state. And Tony Robbins has this whole thing where he'll teach you about this if you go to Unleash the Power Within. But a lot of people try and do something by trying to force themselves to do something, and then they feel like they'll be in a changed state afterwards. And it's that whole be, do, have thing. You have to be in that energetic state before you can have that thing. And it's infuriating to hear because it's the opposite of what we have ever been taught. But remind yourself when you get a little infuriated with that the people that you learned from are not living their dream life. The society that taught you is teaching you about scarcity and is teaching you about disease and is teaching you about fear. So what you've always been taught has gotten you where you are now, and that's not where you want to be. So we have to release, and we have to change our perspective on a lot of these things in order to be able to do this work. The micro shifts lead to the macro transformations. And it's in understanding that if you are able to take control of how you feel now and feel better in this moment, then you are able to ask better questions. You are able to find solutions easier. You are able to see opportunities easier. A lot of the times the difference is just that when you are at one low vibrational frequency, all you're seeing are problems. All you're seeing is limitation. All you're seeing is lack. But when you change your vibration, you open yourself up for the opportunities, the solution, and the abundance that was always available. You were just not available to it. And what I've realized is when you're someone who's done all of the work, when you've done the mindset, when you've learned the manifestation, when you've learned the energetics, but you're still not feeling that aliveness in the moment, that tells me we have work to do in your nervous system. It tells me that your nervous system isn't regulated. And it also tells me that within your body, you are still attached to and holding on to experiences in your past that caused you to feel a way that you didn't want to feel, but you haven't let go of. So you're continuously bringing that feeling into your present reality, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. And when we do the work that I've been doing and the work that I'm shifting into and that I'll be shifting into with my private clients, we're going to be doing the nervous system regulation and the subconscious programming in sync. And this is it. This is what truly, I truly believe could shift anyone from out of any experience, state, or thing. I am someone who's lived through a lot of trauma. Like, we couldn't even get through one podcast episode on the amount of trauma I've been through if we were going to talk about it. But we're not going to talk about it because that doesn't help me or you. It only helps to speak about trauma in my life is if I'm telling a story so that a client can understand the life learned experience that I went through and to help build rapport. But we're not trauma bonding anymore. And I find that that's what society is doing right now with the shadow work and the inner child healing. And because of that, I personally got stuck in that deep, grueling healing work for too long, to the point where I feel like I regressed a little bit in my personal development because I had gotten so far in the mindset and the energy work, but because I felt like there was still this density holding me down, it was like, oh, well, I must have more healing work to do. So I've got to learn more healing modalities. I've got to start practicing more things, doing more things. And of course, that's the masculine paradigm that we were raised in, and that type A control freak, personality of mine that I am recovering from. But I find that I'm not alone in this, because when I scroll on TikTok just to see where are we at? Where are the videos coming from? What's the state of the world? Granted, that's not the best scope of it, but I think it's a really great way to see globally, what are we talking about? What's on the consciousness, the collective consciousness mind? And there's still a lot of people talking about the inner child work, talking about the healing work, but they're talking about getting stuck in it and feeling like they just don't want to do anything because it's just this constant, never-ending healing, but we're never actually getting healed. And it's not ever that we're going to be fully healed, right? We're humans living an imperfect experience in a world where duality has to exist for us to experience the good and the bad, but the bad needs to exist so the good can exist as well. And that can be troublesome and it can be a lot. But I find that if we do healing work without an end in sight, or if we do healing work without a way that is more concise, without a way that's more efficient, we're ending up like talk therapy. And talk therapy doesn't work because you're just talking about traumas and reliving traumas, and it's not actually getting to the emotional root. It's not getting to the energetic root. It's not getting to the belief, the root of the belief. And so if we're not getting to the root of any of this, we're never actually digging it up. We're never actually releasing it. We're never actually clearing that space. And I find that that's what a lot of the work that I see people doing and that I've done have gotten us to. So what I want is for us to be able to heal as a collective, heal individually, feel our best, live our most fulfilling lives, create a world where the mainstream belief is you get to have anything you fucking want. So go play, go create, live your life as authentically you as you could ever possibly be. Enjoy all of the deliciousness that life has to offer you. Ask for more because you get to have it. Believe it's all possible because it is, and show this world what you're fucking made of. I am so ready for us to be there. And it's happening. Like, it will happen in my lifetime. I know this to be true. There are so many of us coaches and healers on this planet that are going to go through the darkness to lead you to the light. And this is what I've learned is if we can shorten the period of darkness to have this blissful light experience, we all benefit from this. So how can we start shifting as a collective from the collective that's deep in the healing work, that's getting lost in their own healing, to how can we shift as the collective that's where they're at, like the one that's ready to go. We've already done the work. Now let's fucking play. Let's live. Let's get to do what we said we were going to do on this planet as humans. And that's why I love this work, because I truly believe that every moment that I invest in my own growth and every moment that you invest in your own growth, we are clearing lineages of trauma, of emotions, of energies, of things that have stood in our way that haven't allowed us to experience life in the most beautiful way that it was meant to actually be experienced. So this podcast episode, I really want you to take away from it that you need to start taking the information that you're learning and you need to embody it. You need to let it marinate within your body, within your nervous system. And if you feel like you've been doing all of the things, you've been taking all of the programs, you've been listening to all the podcasts, you've been doing the work, and it seems like there's still something missing, then I would really invite you to start working with me and let's do some nervous system regulation work. Because I'm telling you, if you're someone that's like me and you've done all the things, but it's still just like, it's just not there yet, that's what's missing for you. But it's not just this. It's always going to be coupled with the mindset, the energetics, and the embodiment as a whole. So I'm really excited to be just revamping my entire mentorship containers and, you know, what we do and the work we do together, because now, like, everything was already possible, but now it's possible even faster because the healing is available now. Like, we don't have to go through 30 years of healing work. We can heal things and we can shift them now. We can shift them in a day. We can shift them in a session. We can shift the deep ones over some time, but like time being a month, not like 10 years. And that's the traditional healing path, is it's going to take a really, really long time. But that's only when you are operating with a nervous system or a subconscious mind that is holding on to things from your past that are getting in your way of vibrating at your highest frequency now in the moment. And in this moment is when you manifest. In this moment is when you live. And in this moment is how you create your life going forward. So I want you to be able to show up as your best self and feel your best right now, knowing that it gets to get better and knowing that the commitment to your excellence is what's going to allow you to have all of the things you've ever wanted. So keep going. You're doing amazing. And I'm so excited that you're in my world. Like, I've got so much magic coming for you. I can't even begin to describe it. If you're not already following me on social media, do it, girl. Just what are you waiting for? I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. That's where you'll find me the most. And then I also do have a YouTube channel that, let's be honest, I'm really just posting my reels and my TikToks on there, but I'm also on there as well. So you can find me Alexa Ray Smith on all of the things. Please shoot me a DM. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Like, what did you take away? If you're really super excited to get into some rewiring, some reprogramming, some regulating, then let's fucking go. Because this year, 2022, is still the year that you get to have it all. This is still the year that everything changes for you. Like, let's stop looking at the lack of time that we have and let's see the abundance and the possibilities and the magic that's available for us now, because woohoo, it's so potent. All right, I love you so much. Until next episode, I'll talk with you soon.